Hi guys, welcome back to the Chaotic Carnivore channel, and I'm just going to be really upfront from the get-go. I have had to do quite a few retakes of this video until I finally just decided, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it, and whatever emotions I have, whatever reactions I have, I'm okay to get them on film. This is probably going to be the hardest video that I've done to date, and probably the hardest one I will ever have to do on my channel, but I knew that I was going to do it from the day I first made my first video. And I've been putting it off and just wanting to kind of get into a groove of scheduled videos and whatnot, but I think it's very important if I'm going to fully dedicate to this channel, to the diet, to my own health and well-being, and really take a vested interest in getting better, that I am honest with myself and with all of you, everyone who's been so kind to come here and support me, support my roommates, support us as a team. It just means the world. I know I've said it a lot, and I will continue to say it in every single video because you have no idea how much it means to all of us that you do the things you do, the things you say. And I know that doing this video, there could possibly be, I'm opening the door for if there are haters that come to my channel later, giving them easy low blows and whatnot to use, but we all take risks doing things like this, so hopefully I won't have any black-hearted people that come here and want to try to use this against me. My personal reasons for doing the diet, they don't... I don't even really know how to explain it. Let me just get into my why, and maybe you'll understand why I'm hoping that people will not be so ignorant to come here and throw the things that I'm going to tell you back in my face. But if they do, they do. There are just going to be people like that, and you can't help it. But besides the possible weaponization of my traumas that people could use, I'm just very nervous to make this video because this is not things that I have shared with very many people in my life. And I'm fully aware of the fact that everyone watching this, or most everyone watching this, are all complete strangers to me. I understand that. I still appreciate you being here, and I know the majority of you, if not all of you, are dealing with relatively the same types of struggles that I have and the things that I've been through. So, my why, for why I am doing the carnivore diet. I do have a lot of the, what I would call like standard or expected reasons. I have people that I love and care about, and that I want to feel better, I want to be healthy, I want to experience everything that life has to offer. And I'd like to not, pass away at an early age. I'd like to live as long as I possibly can, and I would like to be able to enjoy that life with the people that I care about. But a lot of my reasons and a lot of the things that have kind of led me to this road, they go just a bit deeper than that. Starting far, far, far back when I was very, very young, I started to form like deformity. My back, I had a condition called kyphosis, and it is where you get a hunch in your back, much like, Quasimodo. It was very aggressive, and it hit right as I was going into junior high, right before I had gotten into high school. So of course that's when my whole body was developing, and I became so self-conscious because I was the only one, to this day, actually, I am the only person that I have ever met that's actually had this condition. It's not a super, super common thing, and most of the time you will see it in more like older generations, or, older people in general. That's at least what I've seen. Forgive me if I'm being ignorant about it at all. But I did end up having corrective surgery for it when I was 14. Pretty sure, yeah, I was 14. I got corrective surgery for it where they ended up putting 2 titanium rods and 28 screws into my spine. And it you know, it wasn't terrible. The month afterward, the healing part was terrible, having to be stranded on my couch or on a hospital bed that they ended up having to move into the house. It was a long healing process, but in that time I ended up putting on a considerable amount of weight. So even when I finally was able to go back to school and get back into, you know, making friends, doing things that I love doing, I still felt very self-conscious. I had literally fixed one of the biggest problems that I had. And as far as medicine goes, as a total side note, guys, I would never, you know, not listen to my doctor or not seriously take medical advice. I always joke with everybody and say if it wasn't for modern medicine, I would be just a complete abomination. Because I had to get braces when I was younger. My teeth were everywhere. I actually had corrective surgery on one of my eyes because it had gone lazy. I got to wear an eye patch for a while when I was young. That was cool. But yeah, I would have had a lazy eye, my teeth completely messed up, and a hunchback. So, real life Quasimodo cosplay? I don't know. But, thankfully for the most part, a lot of that was fixed. And unfortunately, years later, I have to sit there and say, even though I had so many of those problems fixed, I ruined everything. I took for granted the body that had been fixed and made it more comfortable for me to just be alive. And, that's a huge thing that I would like to fix. I would like to actually be appreciative of everything that I've gone through, that other people have helped me with, that all the healing that I've done to get to the point that I'm at. But on to the actual tough stuff. That was bad, but that was not by far the worst that had ever happened to me in my life. It was a struggle. It was definitely not an easy start out, but, fast forward a couple of years, and sorry guys, I promise you I'm going to try not to get very emotional. It's just, it's incredibly hard. But, my mother, I lost her back in 2012. She was very important to me, and she was my inspiration, my hero. But I got a call, unfortunately, in 2012, and she had taken her own life. And that's incredibly hard to say out loud. But she had been battling with depression and anxiety for a very long time. And I was still very young at the time. I was roughly 18, I believe. And I didn't, at that time, even from everything I had been through, I didn't actually understand the in-depth feelings of depression and anxiety and how much it can alter your brain, how I didn't understand ending yourself. So there was a lot of self-guilt after that. I'm not going to get into all the details right now because this is a lot for just this video. But I'm so sorry, guys. But it's I didn't understand how to help her at the time that she was going through everything that she was. And when I got that call, my entire life completely fell apart. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to move on from that. And I can specifically remember, it's crazy to think about now when I look back at that situation at that specific day, because when my family had let me know, there was a bit of a misunderstanding because they told me that she had been taken to the hospital, and I thought for just a minute that she had actually, survived, but, they let me know she hadn't. But that day, just kind of looking around, I couldn't believe how much the world, if you've ever lost anyone, I'm sure the jarring reality that nothing else changes. Your entire world can be just shattering and nothing around you changes. Not many people notice if they don't know you. Like, you just kind of want to yell that it happened and you don't really understand why it happened, but anyway, the most important takeaway from that day is one distinctive memory, and I didn't eat for the entire day. And it wasn't until about midnight at that time that I finally got hungry, and I was hungry enough to tell Rumi about it, and she said, Rumi's been with me for a very long time, so she was living with me at the time, and she was like, let's go get you some food, let's go get you something. And that night we actually went to one of the only places that was open, and it was Taco Bell. And I specifically remember I got a beefy 5-layer burrito, and it was the only thing that I ate. But in that moment of me being at the lowest I had ever been, that burrito just did something to me. It did something to me, and for the next couple of weeks, it was basically all that I wanted. I just wanted that little adrenaline surge of feeling better. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to feel good, especially going through everything that we did over the next couple of weeks to months of getting her affairs in order and just kind of processing everything. It was a lot. It was a lot. And it was... I spiraled. I immediately spiraled, and I started to go into binge modes as often as I possibly could. I would fight with Rumi. I would fight with Pookie. We've all been friends for a very long time. And I became... Sorry, guys, I'm getting nervous. I popped my knuckles. But, I basically became almost insufferable over the next, year to 2 years. I was an awful person. If you were not bringing food, then I didn't even want to talk to you. I did not, I was a terrible, terrible person to the only handful of people that I had left that cared about me. I wasn't in contact with a lot of my family. I wasn't, I didn't have a lot of friends. But I started to try to self-isolate, and basically I came up with a very terrible trait of, if you want to talk to me, well, then you need to bring food. If you want my attention, then you need to bring food, because it was my coping mechanism. It was the only thing that I had. That was the point where I started to develop my soda addiction. And it got so bad to the point where I was drinking, between 1 to 2 entire 2 liters a day. A day. And yet somehow I was still surprised when I had diabetes. I don't know. Just, it's been a lot. But anyway, it took quite a few years before I actually got myself back on track, and I was okay enough to start caring about my health again. And there was a day where I said enough is enough, and I'm gonna get off the soda. That was horrible. That was absolutely awful. If you have ever had a soda addiction, a caffeine addiction, and you have tried your best to break it, let me know down in the comments. Let's start a discussion about that, because it is terrible. And unless you've been through it, you just do not know. You really don't know. I mean, maybe it'd be the same if you were hit repeatedly in the head with a bat every day. Not sure. But, it's just I started to care about myself again, and Rumi and I decided to do calorie counting for the first time. We got apps on our phones, we paid our subscriptions and everything. We got a food scale, we started counting things, we started tracking things. It was literally everything. Not a crumb of food went into our mouths without us tracking it. And we did that for about 4 months, until I had to take a trip states away to go and visit my grandmother on my mother's side. And I went and I saw her, and we had a fantastic week together. And then about roughly 3 months after I returned home, I got a call, and my grandmother was in the ER, and the call was from one of my aunts who lived not far away. And she said, "Hey, I need you to know, Grandma's been in an accident. She was driving while under some medication, and she ended up rolling her car. And she has a lot of internal bleeding, and there's nothing that they can do for her. So I just called so you could say goodbye before they take her off life support. And that was awful. You know, I could hear her breathing. I could hear her trying to talk. It was just a lot. It was a lot. And unfortunately, that kind of like plunged everything back into a lot of pain, a lot of confusion, a lot of just basically the calorie counting kind of came to a full stop after that. I 180'd back onto food, and all of the work that I had done to lose the weight that I had done to just to make myself better was completely gone. I backtracked and I lost everything. And since then, that was just a couple of years ago now. I think roughly 2 years ago. It might have been just a little longer, but it was just so much. Everything was a huge blur, and everything went right back to the way it was. The only thing that didn't come back, thank God, was the soda addiction. And I didn't lean so heavily on it. I know that I had talked in previous videos about the day that all of my crazy health issues started last year. I had drank like 4 sodas, and that was the point that it had started to ramp back up. But it never fully got to that point, because after that day, I stopped with the sodas. I think I might have had like an occasional one here and there over the past year, but usually diet or something like that, like never anything crazy. But anyway, food has just basically had such a positively negative impact on my life. I made the terrible mistake of, instead of relying on people when things hurt me, when I'd have these emotional, traumatic events in my life, instead of relying on people who I had now come to see as very, very, they're not finite. You can lose people you love at any time. You know, fear of death is, fear of passing away is a terrible, terrible thing. And I think I had the best intentions of just trying not to be hurt in case I lost more people that I cared about. But food was always going to be there. Unlike people, food was always going to be there. So in my young mind, you know, I just went for what was dependable, and it was completely wrong. I was completely wrong. I made the mistake of doing that, and I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it, but I see now that I need to break that habit. I've come to a little bit more of peaceful terms with the fact that we're not here forever, and though, you know, you will lose people, you need to cherish the time that you have with them. And on the day that I realize that I can do something about this, that I don't just have to accept my current situation, I tell people that I care about that the worst day of my life was losing my mother. The second worst day of my life, before everything happened with Grandma, was actually realizing at my darkest time that it is not that hard, depending on what you go through in life, to understand why someone would do something like that. Losing her was the first, understanding her was the second. And I don't ever want to get back to that place, and it breaks my heart to know that there are people living with that every single day. And for the most part, it's because of how they look. It's because of their situation. I understand monetary troubles. I understand, you know, emotional troubles, friendship, family troubles, all of that can be so complicated. But if finding inspiration to just change the way you are in your life, if that can help save people, If I can be a part of that, the reason that I could have done this without making videos. I could have just taken my health into my own hands and I could have done this without recording it. But I don't want to do that. I want to share it, because if I can help even one person get out of that mindset to see that someone like me can do this and be completely blatantly honest about what I'm doing, show you guys everything and show you just how bad it can be, hold nothing back, tell you what an awful person I have been and what I'm trying to do to be better. If I can show you that, if I can relate to you, if this has an impact on you that helps you not to get to that place, then everything will be worth it. And as for monetary reasons, absolutely, I will say that if I can get this channel somewhere to where it is actually making me an income, I have plans. I'm going to be 100% transparent with all of you. I have plans. I would like to get to the point of being able to, obviously not Mr. Beast levels of donating to charity and things. I wish I could do that. That would be amazing. But I would like to be able to help more with efforts, charities and foundations and whatnot, to be able to help people in crisis like that. People who, you know, the ending yourself kind of help. I would very much like to do that. I've been around that a little bit more than I'd like to admit in my life, and if I could just do something to help besides just the videos and whatnot, I would definitely do that. I have, you know, possible merch ideas, I have possible plushie idea, like, not to spoil anything too early, but everything that you might see me put out, it's not just about my journey. It's that I want to help people. And if I can do that, I would absolutely love it. I want nothing more in the world besides my own health. The health for me and my roommates, the people that I care about. I want them to see me succeeding. I want you guys to see us succeeding. So, I'm sorry for the very emotional video. I've tried to kind of keep it together through this, and I have been just scared, absolutely terrified to make the video and kind of be as vulnerable as I am being, but I mean, I can't get any more transparent than this. I really can't. At least not, you know, not with my backstory and what I've actually been going through. These are some of the worst things that I have had to go through to get to this point. And I'm sorry for anyone who's had to go through anything similar. I am so sorry. Loss is just not something that's... It can be a wonderful motivator, but it can also be a huge disabler. And my why is essentially that I don't want to be disabled by loss anymore. I want to gain, and I want to gain in the good way. I want to be, you know, made capable by loss, and I'd like to gain in a good way. Or, yes, gain in a good way. Gain happiness, gain freedom, gain a sense of, you know, purpose. And in a very rough roundabout way, that is my why, guys. So I'm sorry if this got any bit too in-depth. I'm sorry if you're like, whoa, that was way too much. Like, what the heck? This isn't the place for that. But I've made my decision that I want to be as transparent with you guys as possible and give you an idea of what I'm doing with this channel, why I'm here, and what the heck I'm just doing in general. Because if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know most of the time I don't even know. Chaotic carnivore, I'm trying. But thank you guys so much for being here, and if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comments below. And if you're new here and you want to see how this entire crazy journey goes, please subscribe and stick around with us, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.